both my daughter and my son-in-law were working. My daughter was always very tired when she came back from work. One day, my daughter called me to her house and asked me for help. As soon as I reached her house, she welcomed me warmly. Once, around midnight, my son-in-law came into my room, stroked me, and said, "Mom, your daughter is very tired now. She can't spend much time with me anymore, so please make me happy now." He didn't even give me a chance to breathe that night until 4 a.m. My name is Komal, and today I am telling you the story of myself and my son-in-law. My daughter didn't have time for office work. One day, I received a call from him, and he asked me to help him with housework. Out of concern for my daughter, I went to him. As soon as they saw me, my daughter and my son-in-law were happy and started serving me. I couldn't understand anything, but my son-in-law had suddenly changed. As soon as he saw me, he hugged me. We had never hugged each other before. How did this sudden change happen? I didn't understand and didn't feel it either. When I reached my daughter's house, she said she wanted to eat the food I prepared. I changed my clothes and then went to the kitchen. That evening, my daughter and my son-in-law ate dinner with great joy. After the meal, my daughter started saying, "Mom, I feel very good after eating the food you prepared." My son-in-law agreed. I nodded and said, "I haven't had such good food in a long time." My daughter said happily, "Don't I cook good food?" A quarrel arose, and I told them to keep calm and not make big issues out of small things. "I can't come here every day, and you both should live together." Perhaps they were joking with each other. After dinner, my daughter washed her hands and went to the room while I was putting things away in the kitchen. My son-in-law said, "Your daughter doesn't care. You've come here after so long," and on the first day, she left all the work to you and went to the room to watch TV. That's her daily routine. I quietly picked up the utensils and said nothing. My son-in-law also followed me into the kitchen, held my hand, and said, "You really have magic in your hands." My heart was happy. I will have all relationships with you, and I don't have a brother, mother-in-law, or sister-in-law. It's just you have these relationships. I won't let them go too quickly. I could understand his love, but I couldn't comprehend his intentions. I didn't pay attention, and days passed by. It had been a few days since I came to my daughter's house, and now I felt something was wrong in their home. At night, I heard the sounds of arguments from their room. It felt very strange to me because, since I've been here, I have never seen them laugh or play together. One day, my daughter and I came back from work earlier. We looked at each other and made tea for him, placed 2 cups on the tray, and went into his room. She was sitting in her room talking on the phone, and I wanted to talk to her. I gave her tea, put her phone aside, and said, "You're busy with your phone all day, and you don't even talk to your mom. And then you come to me. What's the use?" She started looking at me and said, "Mom, tell me what I should talk about." I said, "You are not what you appear to be. The atmosphere in your house doesn't look good." When she heard my words, she shuddered. I looked at her in surprise, and she started saying, "Mom, what are you talking about? I don't understand what you mean." I put my hand on her shoulder and said, "For 3 days, I've been hearing the sounds of arguments from your room. Are you two getting along? Is everything okay?" Instead of asking, she said, "Mom, you should ask your son-in-law because he's the one who always fights and constantly finds faults. I come home tired from the office, and now that you've come, I feel a bit of relief. Otherwise, I used to feel sleepy at work. How can I spend time with him despite so much work? He called you here because he thought that with Mom's arrival, I would have some peace and get good food. He doesn't like the food I prepare. He said that he will fulfill all his wishes and my mother-in-law comes. I don't know which wishes he wanted to fulfill, but he was very happy to call you here, and I felt relieved." I listened to my daughter and felt that she really didn't have time. Perhaps that's why he called me here, but my son-in-law had another wish to fulfill, of which I had no idea. As soon as I left her room, I heard the sound of my son-in-law's car. He also came home early from the office. When I saw him coming early, I said, today, you both came home early. It's very good. Now you two go out and spend time together. But my son-in-law said it's not necessary to go to the Mummy Hotel. Today, one of my friends has a birthday, and he organized a party, and we'll have to go there. I said, that's a very good thing, you two get ready quickly. In the meantime, she said, we're not going alone, you're coming along, too. When my daughter insisted and said, Mom, come with me, I won't take you anywhere else. I'll just come up with an excuse, so today you have to go with the two of us. When he insisted, I agreed to go with him. Whenever I went anywhere, I only wore my nice clothes. I wore a beautiful wedding dress and came out of the room. My son-in-law looked at me from top to bottom, and he said, Mommy, today you can't breathe, you look like an angel. After a while, my daughter and my son-in-law complimented me a lot on my appearance. As soon as we reached the party, my son-in-law's friend said, your sister-in-law is very beautiful. To which my daughter immediately replied, she's not my sister, she's my mother. Surprised to hear that, he said, you're so beautiful and young. You even have a son-in-law. My son-in-law kept praising me, and my daughter didn't like it. When we came back home after a while, my daughter said, Mom, from today, you don't need to be so dressed up. Prepare for your age. I couldn't understand the anger in her words, yet she got mad at me and went into the house. I ignored her words. When I went into my room and changed my clothes, I felt so disheartened. Suddenly, the door opened, and there was a knock. My son-in-law asked, Can I come in? I replied, There's no need to ask, you can come anytime. He said, You looked so beautiful that I feel ashamed to even let you breathe. You seem more like my everything, not just my breath. Then he said, I heard what your daughter angrily said to you, but don't pay attention to it. You're prepared just as you should be. It's your wish. I was very happy with my son-in-law's praise, but I was also shy. From that day onwards, my son-in-law died 4 days later. I used to hear the sounds of arguments coming from their room. I left my room, listened carefully, and then went back to my room. I was about to turn off the light when my son-in-law came into the room. I gave him a glass of water and asked him if everything was okay. He said, Your daughter doesn't even realize that she hasn't learned anything. When I go to her, she always says the same thing, I'm very happy but also tired. I remained silent and listened to him. I tried to explain to him, Don't be angry, she gets tired because of her job. I will explain it to her. That's why she's a bit worried. If she takes a few days off and goes out, everything will be fine. He said, I'm ready to do anything, but your daughter is not even ready to leave her office behind for a few days. While I was handing him a glass of water, I suddenly let go of her hand. He took the glass from my hand and set it aside. Then he held my hand and said, After seeing you, I have no desire to see your daughter. You are so beautiful. He began to speak badly about my daughter in front of me. I thanked him but said, You are insulting my daughter in front of me, that is absolutely wrong. It's not right. He replied, I am not saying anything wrong. I'm just telling you what it is. Your daughter is now old, so I like her a lot. No, he had his eyes on me. I told him, It's too late now, go back to your room. With great difficulty, I managed to get him out of my room. He praised me. The next day, he felt good. When he came back from the office, he said, Tomorrow you're coming to the office with me. Prepare 2 lunch boxes. My boss praised the food you made very much. He thought my wife prepared very delicious food, but I told everyone that the magic is in my mother-in-law's hands. I was drowning in his words. Meanwhile, my daughter arrived there. When I went to the kitchen in the evening, she told me, Mom, don't try to please your son-in-law too much. You should act according to your age. If he brings you to the office tomorrow, they will see me with the utmost ease. Dressing up like this doesn't look good at all. My daughter dictated something to me, and I was very angry at her. I told her angrily, Always remember that I am your mother, so you can't help me. Control your tongue before you speak. You've known from the beginning that I have a habit of getting dressed up, and I'm not going to give up this habit just because you asked. You're changing. This angry nature had changed. Sometimes I felt like she wasn't even my daughter. That day, I told my daughter many things for the first time. She left the kitchen angrily. When I went to the office with my son-in-law, my daughter-in-law stopped us and said, "Do you both have a relationship between mother-in-law and son-in-law, or have all boundaries been crossed?" I slapped her on the face, but it didn't matter to her. She told me, "You can leave my house." After hearing her words, it didn't matter to her. She left with her son-in-law to the office. When I came back after a few hours, I sat in my room and cried. But my son-in-law kept calling me often, and I didn't pick up the phone. When he arrived, I packed my things and got ready to leave. As I was leaving, my son-in-law came, took my hand, and brought me back into the house. As soon as he reached the room, he put my clothes back in the closet and began to ask, "What's going on? Please tell me, where are you going?" I didn't tell him anything about my daughter. I just said, "It's been many days since I've been here, and your relationship is being ruined because of me. Your distance is growing. You should be happy in your life, and I should start getting my things back in order." But my thoughts were only revolving around one thing: how has my daughter's thinking changed so much? My son-in-law said, "Your daughter must have said something. It doesn't make any sense. I think he's quicker than you. Stay here without worry." He tried to comfort me, and it brought tears to my eyes. He said, "Don't cry. I am here for you." After that day, my son-in-law came into my room because our relationship had taken a different turn, and he supported me completely. I liked him very much because he cared a lot about all my worries and my happiness. The days went by like this, and one day my son-in-law suddenly gave me another chance to live happily. His boss's wife had died, and he wanted to start his life with me. When my daughter found out, she told my son-in-law, "You do so much for my mother, and I misunderstood you, so please forgive me." My daughter apologized to my son-in-law and kept asking for my forgiveness. I shouldn't have done that at this age, but my daughter told me, "Mom, I misunderstood you. I didn't even notice your loneliness. Live your life, you can be happy. Earlier, Grandpa didn't allow you to marry, but I am not like him. I will fully support you in your life and will accept your decision as my own father. May you always be happy, my daughter." After hearing my daughter's approval, like I was also the boss of my son-in-law's alone in his life, perhaps this was the first time a daughter celebrated her mother's wedding. And when I went, I told her that there was no money for it. It happens that a family can also be there, so take care of your family. And my husband and my daughter promised me that from now on, Mom would have no more complaints from me. Since their marriage, 2 years have passed, and again the son-in-law's love for the beach. Friends, age doesn't play a role in love and marriage. It happens that relationships can disappear on their own. So friends, how did you like my story? Please let us know by commenting and subscribing to our channel to hear more such interesting stories.